Hey everyone! Welcome back! I am back today with more JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and something a little bit different for you guys today. Today, I'm going to be giving you my report on a little light novel called Purple Haze Feedback, you guys. Oh my lord, it was so good. Everyone on this planet needs to read this book. It was so good. That's my, short spoiler-free review, is that it was so good and everyone needs to read it. But no, guys, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell you kind of like a brief, just kind of my thoughts, impressions, just very vague stuff for anyone who might want to go read it and has not read it. And then I'll get a little bit more into like the actual story. I'm not probably, because I want to keep this to like maybe hopefully under 20 minutes. I'm not going to go through like every single point of the book, but I'll go through some of the major stuff and the stuff that made a big impression on me. And so yeah, so we'll just kind of do it that way. And then this way, because I know there were quite a few people like in my comments who were saying like, hey, I haven't checked it out. So like this way you're not like, oh, well, I guess now I know that. Oops. So, all right. My brief, just kind of review / impressions. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful continuation. And almost, I hate to say like clarification, but like it does add a lot, I think, to Fugo's character. I mean, obviously it's about Fugo. You know it's about Fugo because of the name. Like, that's not a spoiler. It's about Fugo, if anyone was wondering. And it takes place after part 5. And I think it does a really great job of, helping us get to know Fugo a little bit better, since we really didn't get to know him very well in the show, or in the manga. In fact, I think we knew him maybe better on the show than we did in the manga, because I'm told that there were like anime-only scenes and anime-only story. There was some stuff with the backstory in this. I'll probably get more into that in the spoilery part. So, but yeah. So, great way to get to know Fugo. It also, I think, added a little something for me of just like the group dynamic, and added a couple of like background details. Added some like details connected to other parts that I did not see coming. I was like, what the actual fudge? Like, I thought I signed up for like a part 5 sequel book. It was great. And yeah, and it kind of gives a nice snapshot of the way that things look after part 5 ends, and like in Passione, and not like a huge look at like what they're doing, but enough that like I think more than we got in the finale, which I love the finale, but it doesn't really give you any indication of like where things went from there. You just know that like Giorno is the boss now and everything, which is great. But yeah, so this gives you a little bit more insight into that. But yeah, really, really deepened my appreciation of Fugo. There are some developments, and this whole light novel, by the way, is non-canonical. Like, I should mention, it's not really considered canon. It does have art from Araki. I believe the author is like a friend or a colleague of Araki's. So, and I gotta say, this author just put 175% into it. Like, you could tell this is written by somebody who loves the idea of these characters, loves the idea of stands, really got creative. Oh my god, the stands in this, oh my god. And the original characters too, I gotta say, like, I was invested, like, in these original characters. And it's not a super long book. It's only like 173 pages. So it's not a, you won't get too in depth on anything, but man, even in that time, like, I think what it does so well. There's some great twists, and the ending was just beautiful. I cried. I literally just finished it. So one of the reasons why this is such a kind of jumping around incoherent review is because usually I would like to like write an outline, like, oh, I want to address this, I want to address that. And this was kind of short, so I think I can get away with just giving you a high level analysis. And also, like, I literally just finished it. Like, my iPad is sitting over there. I literally just put it down and I was crying at the end. Great, great, great ending. And like I said, we do get some developments and stuff in there. I won't go too deep into it. So that's kind of my spoiler-free review of the book. Now, if you don't want to know anything more, and I'm not going to go super into, I'm not going to read you a passage from the book, but like, if you really don't want to know anything about this book, here's your time to stop. That was my spoiler-free synopsis review. As of this point, I'll be talking about stuff that actually happened. Oh my lord. Yeah, when I read this book, I didn't think that I was signing up for so many other amazing references to like other parts, but so we get to a part. So, okay, so let me tell you the gist of this book, okay? The gist of the book is, it starts out basically Misa's coming to Fugo saying like, hey, if you want back in, you're going to have to prove your loyalty. And also just kind of like, you're going to have, like, yeah, it's that or nothing. Like, just go on this mission and, you know, and we'll talk. So he's like, okay. So they set him up with another crew, and there's two, like, original characters, Sheila E. and I hope I'm getting this, Canolo Marullo? I don't know. And they're both fantastic, and their stands are so freaking sweet. So Canolo has a stand that's like playing cards, and they're like, at first they're like, oh, they're fortune tellers. And it actually turns out to be a lot more than that. And I don't want to give away what, I'll go ahead. Don't skip this part if you don't like want one of the twists of the book given away. But, what ends up happening with his stand is you find out it's actually kind of, it's not a fortune-telling stand. They're just kind of like gathering information and relaying it back to him. But a really cool part of it is that they kind of go into the idea of like group stands, sort of like Harvest and Bad Company that we saw in part 4. And those kind of being linked to your like emotional, or you're like, you know, because stands are a reflection of your soul. And how it kind of means that, like, you're almost sort of, like, trying to make up for something, you know? Like, 'cause there's part of you that's, like, sort of hollow. There's something that you're lacking. And it's really cool the way that we find that out, too, because it's one of the, like, big confrontation scenes where we find out that, like, he's not taking as much damage during this fight because it's spread out over all of the playing cards. And he's only getting, like, 150-something of the damage. So that was really, really cool. And then you have Sheila E. Hers was, it's like these little like lips that come out and reveal like things that people have said in secret, like things that people have said out of guilt. So it's kind of like, remember, God, what's his name? The guy with the lock. Kobayashi, but I can't remember. From part 4, where he was in the one where we first kind of see like Echo's manifest, and he has like the lock, the little guilty lock stand thing. But obviously without any of that, it's just like things that people have said out of guilt, and she can like make all of those surface and everything. All of those like secret things said. The villains in this are great. So, okay, so getting back to the plot. They have to go after the narcotics team. And Passione, because obviously, like, now that Giorno's the boss, he wants to go and get away, like, do away with all the drugs. So what we find out 2 interesting things. And again, none of this is canon, but I'm just going to keep this canon in my head. One, and I was, like, trying to figure out, did they ever say this on the show? And I don't think they did. When Diavolo got in there, he had, like, sort of set up this big front of like, oh, we're not gonna, no more drugs, like we're gonna, and to like all the gangs, to the point where he got all the other gangs to stop dealing drugs so that he could come in and monopolize the drug trade, if I'm understanding it correctly. And by the time everyone started to realize, it was too late. So one of the things you have is like, you have a flashback in the book of Fugo and Abacchio kind of going and trying to like figure out like, hey, nobody seems to be dealing drugs anymore, yet drugs are, like, bigger than ever. Like, what's going on? And they start to kind of suspect that it's Passione that's actually, and they were right. So speaking of backstories, I will say, or flashbacks, I will say that the one really major thing that they changed that you can't accept as canon if you're going by what happened in the anime, is Fugo's backstory. And they didn't change it a whole lot. This is what they changed. So in the anime, he, is raised by real cold, pushy parents, rich, super smart, goes off to college early, and the professor, propositions him, and he ends up beating him with the book. That's what happens in the anime. In this, there's no like assault stuff or anything. He's raised by the super cold rich parents, but they add that they're kind of like nouveau riche, like they're not old money. So they have, like, Fugo has this grandmother who's, like, very, very sweet and kind and, like, the only kind of real source of love he's ever known. And the family's, like, embarrassed of her because she's, like, you could tell, like, she didn't come from money and everything. She came up poor or whatever, and then the whole family just kind of struck it rich after. So she's sort of, like, an embarrassment to them. And she dies. She passes away. And his parents are very hard on him about it. They're like, it's no excuse to let your grades slip, blah, blah, blah. And his professor is really hard on him about it and is like, that's a stupid reason to, like, let your grades slip, blah, blah, blah. And is, like, a total a-hole about it. And that's when Fugo beats him with the book. So, I mean, the book was there. The book was there no matter what. But it's kind of interesting, like, what does that say that Araki wrote the anime backstory? But it was after this had come out, this book, and he took so many elements. Like, he must have really enjoyed the book, I'm guessing. He must have really enjoyed it to take its elements of it and use it in his own writing. So, yeah. So, basically the whole point is they're going after the narcotics team. And the narcotics team, they're some real interesting individuals. They've got I won't get into every single stand because I can't. Like, there's, like, probably 5 or 6 new stands in here. But there's, like, a team, there's, like, a crew, and the head is this guy named Volpe. And his stand, okay, are you ready for this? His stand, this blew my mind, creates drugs. Or, like, drug-like effects. And that is what Passione has been using to get to the top of the drug trade. Is this guy's stand. So he, like, is the drug trade in Passione. So his stand is... Oh, by the way, I should mention all the stands are named after Jimi Hendrix songs, which I love. I love that little mwah, chef's kiss, little attention to detail. Speaking of chefs, end of the book, we get, it literally does not affect very much, but it blew my goddamn mind. So Volpe is having this flashback about how he came from, like, this aristocratic family, and it all ended up like he was going to inherit everything because his brother was going to take off and become a chef. And as soon as they said that in the book, I'm like, nah, it couldn't be. And they mentioned his name's Antonio. And I'm like, nah. And they mentioned that he'd have to go by, he's like, I can't do it here in Italy because family's too big. I'm going to have to, like, travel the world. And I'm like, oh my gentle Lord. He's like, I have to go by my like, mom's maiden name. And I'll have to go by Trussardi. And I'm like... So basically... The one heading up all of the drugs in Passione was the brother of Tonio. And, like, his stand can make drugs or drug-like effects. And Tonio's, like, helps people and, makes them healthier. And oh, the way I internally screamed. I should also note that I read most of this book in bed where I could not freak out because it would wake my dog. At my hairdresser's, where I could not freak out because I was trying to pretend to be a normal human being. And then I read the last of it here where I could happily just freak out. So it's really hard to, like, contain my enthusiasm. Okay, so another thing I'll say, so the 2 main points, like, the one main point was to Fugo, go and take down the narcotics Yada, yada. Oh, I should also mention that one of the guys he's working with, what, I just said his name. Canolo? Yeah. He was the one who, like, tipped off the Hitman Squad, the La Squadra, about, like, he pitted them against Diavolo and, like, got that whole conflict started. So he goes through kind of an arc. Sheila, who's another member of the team, goes through kind of an arc because, like, her sister was killed by Eluso, and that's why she's here, and Giorno had this huge effect on her, and she's, like, super loyal to Giorno and everything. We get to a point in the story where the narcotics team is like, hey, we need to go and get this thing that will make us invincible. And I'm like, are they talking about one of the arrows? What are they? Guys, they brought the stone mask into this craziness. The stone mask. They go to Sicily for the stone mask. And I'm like, what? So Canolo follows them. They're having a big confrontation. Canolo ends up winning, obviously. And it's revealed that he's like, nah, guess what? I was after, Canolo's saying this, I was after the mask the whole time. Giorno sent me to follow you guys. Like, you led me to it. That was the intention this whole time, was to get the mask. And he didn't want to come do it himself because he didn't want to tip off, he didn't want to, like, set off a bunch of red flags with Speedwagon Foundation and Jojo and everything because of, you know, obviously a little bit of family history there on his one daddy's side with the with the stone mask. So yeah, I was like, what the actual fudge? That was amazing. So I'm sure I'm probably leaving out a lot of really, really cool stuff. There were lots of great fights. There was another character named Kokaki, and his stand was really cool. He had, like, the ability to, like, freeze you in a thought, like, a concept, an idea, and, like, his backstory was, I was trying so hard not to cry at my hairdressers. Under the bowl. Does anyone know the bowl that they put you under when you're getting your hair done? Go under the bowl? Yeah. It's trying real hard to keep it together under the bowl. So that was great. But yeah, so finally this all comes to a head, and we get, throughout this whole thing, we get Fugo thinking, just doing a lot of soul searching. Like, that's the main point of the book, is, like, him trying to figure out, like, why did Narancia make the decision he did? Having a lot of, like, guilt and feelings over, the decision that he made, that Fugo made. Not getting on the boat and everything. And still just kind of, like feeling the guilt, but not really truly, I think, understanding his reasoning or others' reasoning. And the whole book is kind of about him finding himself and sort of, like, learning. And finally, at the end, he finally gets it, because Sheila E. is getting her butt handed to her by, Volpe. Yeah, it was Volpe. And he shows up and he's like, oh my God, I finally get it. Like, he's showing up for this girl, and he feels this connection to her and, like, their shared feelings the same way that Narancia did to Trish, and he finally, like, gets it. And so finally, that's, like, the big final fight. And Purple Haze powers up because Fugo is changing. Fugo has discovered this new part of himself. And so Purple Haze becomes Purple Haze Distortion. And he gets an upgrade. And maybe I'll try to get, like, a screenshot of the drawing on the screen. I don't know. It's super sweet. And so now it's different. It's, like, stronger. But also, he can't use it at full strength, or it's, like, not effective. Like, it kind of affected the way that it works a little bit. If he uses it at full strength, it's not as effective, is what I meant to say. And there's just a whole it's just such a good scene. He, like, you know, it's one of those, like, you think he's getting beaten, and all of a sudden you pull something cool out, and it's great. So he gets evolved in many more ways than one. And the last scene is of him and Giorno meeting together in a restaurant. Is it supposed to be I don't know if it's supposed to be the restaurant. I don't think it is. The restaurant that they're always meeting in. I don't think, anyway. And he's, like, all beat up and everything from his fight. And all of a sudden, like, Giorno's sitting there across from him, and all his injuries are healed. And Giorno's talking with him. And throughout the course of the conversation, they kind of learn that, like, yeah, the thing is, like, this was sort of like his whole test to, like, prove his loyalty and everything again. But it also was Giorno trying to get him to do a little bit of thinking and soul searching about everything as well. And it worked, because he did work through his issues, and he did end up, like, maturing, and even his stand evolved and everything. And even, like, Sheila, like, Giorno wanted Sheila to work through a lot of her issues too, because she could be a little bit reckless and almost kind of, like, didn't have any regard for her own life or anything. So really, this whole thing was also, like, a way for Giorno to kind of help everyone self-assess a little bit and grow and mature. And it wasn't just strictly that's the impression I got anyway, that, like, it wasn't just strictly, you know, prove your loyalty or else. And there's this, oh man, I'm gonna get, in the beginning of the book, Fugo's talking about this picture that they all took. And he's wondering, like, I wonder what happened to the picture. And at the end, Giorno, like, hands him the picture, and it's all of them. And I think it's back when they rented the yacht, I think that's what it was supposed to be. And the ending just got me so much. Like, I was sitting there crying, because he just is, like, really feeling the weight of all of it. And even, like, in his when Giorno's asking him, like, okay, what do you say? It's all just, like, hitting him. Like, all the feelings all at once are hitting him. And he's, like, honestly not sure what to do. And I think, still really trying to process, like, how he's feeling. And Giorno says this beautiful line to him about, like, you know, if you can't take a step towards me, let me take a half step towards you, and, like, meet me in the middle, basically. And I'm just like, Giorno's just the best ever. We really got to see more of, like, Giorno as, like, a leader in this one, like, what he would look like as the leader of Passione. And it ends with Fugo, you know, pledging his loyalty to him. It was fantastic, you guys. I'm sure I'm leaving out tons of really good stuff. Like I said, I didn't even like, this is literally just me just brain dumping at you about this book. I'm so sorry, because I really did mean for it to be like an actual report, like you would give in school. But I don't know, maybe it's better that it's just like I'm shooting the breeze here and just kind of telling, you know, like we're just sitting down having a chit chat about it, you know. But it was fantastic. Did so much for me in terms of, like, making me know Fugo better, like, understand him, appreciate him as a character, and, like, even, like, other, like, they go into, like, Bruno and stuff like that, flashbacks with Bruno and everything, and I feel like even him, like, we get kind of a better understanding of the group dynamic, and we get a better understanding of Giorno as a leader, and, like, what does it look like with Giorno as leader in Passione. And you can see how so many people, like, Canolo is another one who just, like, he was sort of, kind of, like, considered himself sort of shifty, just sort of did whatever to suit himself, and then he met Giorno, and Giorno just totally, like, exposed his true nature, but, like, in a good way, like, kind of cut him down to size, and he, like, realized his whole life and, like, wanted to do something better. And so it's really fun and cool to see, like, just kind of, like, the effect that he's having. Like, he's not ruling everyone out of fear. He's like, changing lives. And there was another really great line, too, in the book from Fugo. I'll just close with this because it's getting long. It's from Fugo about how, like, everyone else realized why they wanted to, like, join Passione, and because they wanted to follow Bruno. And, like, he helped them, like, see something in themselves. But Bruno didn't really have that kind of self-discovery until he met Giorno. And that's what kind of made it. And that lines up, too, with where we ended the series, with him saying that, like, he was reborn. And, like, he kind of had that self-actualization moment when he got to know Giorno, met Giorno, and knew his dream and everything. So, hey everyone, future Hime here. I'm filming this a day later because I realized while chatting with somebody that, like, I absolutely totally forgot to tell you one of the coolest parts about like a thing for a character that happened in Purple Haze Feedback. I mentioned a lot of other people in like when I was doing my original book report thing. Did not mention that, yes, Trish was mentioned in this, and it was in the best way possible. Apparently, and I had no idea. Is this like a manga thing, or I had no idea about this? Trish is a singer, okay? Like, she's a singer, like was a singer with her mom apparently, and like during that scene I was explaining to you about with Giorno and Fugo at the end, the restaurant they're at, she's singing at. And what's so great about this is A, we find out something really cool about Trish. B, we find out what Trish is doing, because like we didn't see her at the end of part 5. C, throughout this whole thing, Fugo is flashing back to like when he decided not to get on the boat, right? And he's like, you don't even know anything about her. You don't even know what kind of music she likes. And Giorno, in like the best line ever, is like, now you know what kind of music she likes. Drop the mic, baby. Drop the mic. I love the way that like it's so little, it means absolutely nothing, but it just tied that together so well, and I just absolutely loved it. So I wanted to come in and mention that because there's a ton of things that like I didn't really get to mention, which I feel bad about, but go read the book. I'm just giving you like my high level, but that was like something major that I felt like that's like a major character that I didn't, and it's part of like the ending, which I just thought was so good. And so, yeah, I just had to come in and say it. It's, I'm sure like I look wild and crazy because I'm not like filming today or anything. This is just like, I do have makeup on. I don't have all the like reaction makeup on, like that level of makeup on. So I probably look pretty, you're probably like, who is this? No headband, no jewelry, no nothing. But yeah, I was just like, you know what? I'm here. My camera's here. I have to say it. And I have to get it done before, so I can edit it into the review before it has to come out. So yay, pardon my looks, guys. Thank you for listening. Back to the review. It was fantastic, guys. I loved it. The art throughout is by Araki. It's great. He does some art of the original characters. He does some art of, he does the art of the picture, the little picture that I was telling you about. He does some art of Fugo's powered up Purple Haze. It was great. Highly recommend it. I'm a very slow reader, and I managed to read the whole thing collectively probably over a couple of, 2/4, maybe like, I mean, it had to be like less than 10 hours. It was like a handful of hours. Like if you're reading in bed every night for like a week, you would have this done, even if you're reading slow. Unfortunately, I don't think there's an official translation at the moment, at least not into English. I was reading a fan translation, so, but definitely, hopefully we'll get an official one, and everyone please go out and buy that when it comes out, if it comes out, hopefully. For now, it's, you know, it's kind of like, it's kind of fan translated, and yeah, but hopefully one day. But, yeah. So it was great. It was a wonderful way to cap off my journey with part 5. As I sit here, I'm about to start Stone Ocean, like right now. Like as soon as I turn off the camera, I'll be turning it on again to start Stone Ocean. So this is like literally my last little foray into part 5. So it was a great way to cap things off. So, all right, you guys, special thanks to everyone who told me to read this. Special thanks to Leonie for sending me the link so that I could read it. And thank you all for being a part of my part 5 journey and my Jojo journey. And now I shall continue with part 6. So please be sure to join me for that. I think it's going to be fun, intense, amazing, all of the above. So yeah, join me then, and we will watch it together. Bye for now, guys.